Okay, now we are going to start the third part of this lecture. I would like to call it Ethics, the Purpose of Life. We spoke about the acceptance of the Torah in Mount Sinai. We spoke about the difference between Judaism and all the other 80,000 religions and cults. We spoke about scientific proof for the written and the oral Torah. And now we have to speak about the most important thing. To prove, as you can see, it's a matter of 1 or 2 hours. The most intelligent a person is, he doesn't need more proofs. Now what's important is why God needed this entire creation. What is the purpose of this creation? As I said in the beginning of my words today, is that every creation has a purpose. We never found something without a purpose. And we see that the person is different than all the other 2 million species of animals that lives around him. All the animals live with instinct, and the people lives based on free choice. The only species in nature that is responsible for what he chooses to do, and therefore our life is full of jails and courts and police and all kinds of things, because we understand that we have to punish criminals because they could have lived without making their crimes. They could have chosen to do something better. The fact that we punish people, the fact that we have to have a justice system, we don't find any tigers or lions that being accused of murder when they kill the zebra or the deers. Why? They live with instinct. They're hungry. You cannot talk to them. Imagine somebody trying to tell the lion, please don't eat the zebra. Wait 5 minutes. We didn't finish taking pictures. Can you give us another 5 minutes? Do you think the lion would agree? There's anybody to talk to? Obviously not. A person is thinking, is listening, he's seeing, he's reviewing in his head what's to do, what's not to do, what's the risk. After reviewing everything, he makes a decision. The Torah says, I'm giving you today the life and the good, the bad and the death, and you should choose the life, which means you can choose the death. Nobody is forcing you. People ask, how can we have a free choice? Obviously, God knows the future. So if He knows the future, how exactly we have a free choice? And the answer is very simple. Even though it's a sophisticated question, it's a little bit complicated, or actually a lot complicated. And Rambam Maimonides wrote that if you use all the oceans as ink to your pen, you still wouldn't finish to answer all these scenarios, how it works with the free choice. The answer is very simple. Since God says in the Torah that all of us, with no exception, Jews and non-Jews, has a free choice, and we are subject to reward and punishment, and He gave us the book of law. By the way, a part of the Torah applies to the Gentiles. They have 7 laws to keep. And if they keep those 7 laws, they are righteous Gentiles. And they also have an afterlife in their level. Of course, it's a lower level because the test is much easier. But they do have. And they have a purpose. And they have obligations. And reward and punishment as well. And Jews, it's much bigger because it's only 613 laws. 613 laws, it's a lot. And the reward is much greater, but also the punishment is greater. Everything is equal. It's a free choice. It's balanced. So it's very interesting because, first of all, if a person wouldn't have a free choice, why God wasted this time giving us Torah? Why? If you say that I'm a robot, and I do not choose what to do, everything was predetermined for me what to do, where to go, what to say, what's the point of gathering me and giving me Torah? For what? It's not in my hand if I should observe the Sabbath or if I should kill or not. It's not in my hand. Of course it's in my hand. That's why God gave us the Torah, and with full of warnings. Why? Because we choose what to do. Second question is, why did He bother send so many prophets to warn the generation, Jews and non-Jews, to improve their behaving? If He moves them with a remote control and they do not choose what to do, what is He, playing games with Himself? Why does He need to warn me not to do if it's not in my hand? Of course, obviously, it's 100% in my hand. However, it's still hard to understand. It's not the end of the world. Not everything we could understand. Not everything. The Torah says, my thoughts and your thoughts are not the same, God says. My ways and your ways are not the same. Trying to compare your ways and your thoughts to my ways and my thoughts is like comparing a worm to an eagle. This is an analogy. Try to compare a worm that hardly moves on the ground to an eagle that can go from one side of the world to the other in hours. A person can think about one thing at a time, and he cannot do more than one thing at a time. God is supervising the entire creation, 6.4 billion people, 2 million different kinds of animals, trillions of things are in a move all the time. Oxygen, water, galaxies, asteroids are falling, rain of asteroid meteors are falling around Earth. And everything is being supervised. He has no limitation. Obviously, he's complete, he's perfect, controlling everything. In Judaism, the name of God is written in a very interesting way. It's 4 letters, a combination. The letter Yud, the letter Hey, the letter Vav, the letter Hey. Those 4 letters give us 3 combinations. First combination is the past. Haya, Hey, Yud, and Hey. It gives us the past. Hove, Hey, Vav, and Hey. We take 3 letters. It gives us the present. Iye is the future. Yud, Hey, and then Yud again and Hey. Gives us the future. Why God's name symbolize all 3 times at the same time? Past, present, and future. To teach us that He's not subject to time. Only the world of material has time. When you have material, you have time. When there's no material, there's no time aspect. And since God is not physical, it's something 100% spiritual that created this entire creation from nothing, from scratch. He is not subject to time. At the same second, when He created the entire creation, and according to Judaism, it's set for 6,000 years, and we are getting now close to the year 6,000, we are 230 years before the end. So once He set up this entire creation for 6,000 years, basically for Him it's already over, because He can travel in time. He can travel to the past, to the future. We have no understanding how something like this can happen. But to give us an idea, is that if I give you an envelope and I write everything you're going to do from now until tomorrow night, and I tell you, do not open the envelope until tomorrow night, and you're going and doing it, and you see that everything you did, I knew. But I am somebody else. I did not tell you what to do and did not interfere. I did not give you instructions. You did what you wanted to do. The fact that somebody else is able to foresee what you're going to do doesn't mean he interfere with your choice. Even though it's for us, we are very limited in our understanding, so we're getting confused. I always say to the people, if you want to be a genius and start understanding everything, you probably will have to put your entire life just to understand how this concept works. Why don't you trust the Word of God? God says in the Torah, we saw that the Torah is divine. Choose the good, that I should reward you. Do not choose the bad, that I shouldn't punish you. And God says to you what to do. You think He's going to lie to you or mislead you in any way? What's the purpose of that? He is begging the Jews in the Torah, I wish you would listen to me, that I should reward you in the afterlife for eternity, for you and your children ad olam, for eternity. I wish they would listen to me. I wish there will not be a stubborn nation, and many other examples, that is anxious, really, if I can say this word, if I can use anxious, that the Jews would listen to him and follow his instruction. What for? That they pass the test and they get the reward. Now you may ask, I got the point. Who wanted this test? I asked Him to create me. Why did He set up this whole test? Because the Torah says clearly, I'm your God testing you. I'm testing you to see what you're going to choose. You're going to listen to me and listen to my commandments and follow them, or you would not. What's the purpose of the test? Comes right after that I should reward you in your end. Now we all see that righteous people do not get in this life any reward before they die. There's no concept here that once you come to the last 5 years of your life, you're beginning to cash out on all your commandments and all your merits. No, we don't find that. As a matter of fact, we saw some righteous people dying with sicknesses, and some very wicked people live to 90, 100, and they die in their sleep. So where is the justice that the Torah is speaking about? The Torah says, I'm the God of justice. Nobody can bribe me. I give everyone exactly what they deserve. In the long run. Now you may ask, okay, so why God needed to create a place of a test? Couldn't He just put our soul in a place that He promised for the afterlife, life of eternity, with all the greatest pleasure, spiritual pleasure? Just put us over there? The answer is the person would not enjoy something he received for free forever. The shame will kill the person. He wouldn't enjoy it. What is it like? You come, you live by me. 1 month, I give you food, clothing, car, credit card. We cook for you. We do your laundry. After a few days, you come and say, can I participate in cleaning? Can I go shopping for you? Can I help you in any way? Why people offer help? Most people are lazy. They want to sleep and enjoy life. Why should they come and work and clean? The answer is because they suffer. Receiving all the time and not giving a little bit in return makes the person suffer. That's the nature of a person in a spiritual way. Shame. So comes the next question. In that case, why God didn't make us different than what we are? He would make us with no shame. No shame. We only wants to receive. Give me more. Unlimited. The answer is, it's impossible. Why? Because He did not create us from nothing. The soul of us, of the people, comes from Him Himself. It's an actual part of God. It's hard for us to understand because we speak in a very high spiritual way. But God put, as the Torah described, that He made Adam and He pushed into his nostril a living soul. We go to the oral Torah. The oral Torah say, the one who blew the soul in, he is apart from Himself. We have God's traits. Even if we want, we couldn't behave different because it's like an integral part from this divine, amazing thing which called God. Now you may say, but how come there's so many things that I don't understand? I would like to know about this and that. There's so many things, there's no way for me to understand. The Torah say, dear Jew, whatever you need to understand to be successful in your life purpose, God gave you permission to know. Whatever you don't understand, that there's no way for you to ever understand in this life, that means it will not benefit you in any way in your test in life, in your purpose of life. No, if any would confuse you more. Everything you need to know, I gave you permission to know and ability to know. Whatever you don't know, don't kill yourself over it. People sometimes focusing on things that are such irrelevant subjects, instead of focusing on the real purpose of life. The Torah answers what's the purpose of life. Let's read. The Torah says, listen Israel, to the laws and the sentences that I'm giving you today. You should learn them. It's not enough just to know that it's on your shelf, like some people think. You should keep them to do. Many people say, Rabbi, I'm religious in my heart. I love God very much. I kiss the mezuzah every day. My grandfather was a rabbi. Yeah, your grandfather is already in heaven. What about you? What do you live for? Do you think you came to this world just to eat and to sleep and to have a female and to go swimming and doing some sport? This is the purpose of life? That's not what the Torah says. What you call life and what God call life is completely two different things. The Torah says an amazing thing. It says God is making this covenant with us today. All of us are here alive. Face to face. God speaking to us from the fire. It's verse inside the Torah. And as I'm continuing in the chapter of Vayetchanan, Deuteronomy chapter 4, the Torah says the obligation to every Jew, you have to teach and inform your children and your grandchildren that you receive the Torah from me, the creator of the world, and I'm your Father in heaven. Never forget the days that you stood in front of me in Mount Sinai. And After reviewing my Torah, you have to teach yourself to fear from me. I'm not your friend from high school, after all. I'm the boss of this world. Your life depends on my decisions. Your eternity depends on my decision. If you're going to get married or not, it's my decision. If you're going to have money, what to eat, it's my decision. If you're going to be healthy or not, it's my decision. But I make my decision based on your behaving. Now you may say, okay, sounds very nice, but I don't really see it in reality. Beautiful speech, but where do we see it? We see righteous people sometimes suffer. Wicked people celebrate. Where is the justice? The answer is, again, is ignorance. Why? If everybody will sin that they make according to the Torah immediately, a second after a person committed a sin, let's say a person stole $100, the Torah says that you have to pay double, if this is the punishment of a thief. So a second later he loses $200. Tomorrow he's trying to steal again, he's stealing $1,000. A second later he lost $2,000. What value life would have? There's no free choice, you're like a robot. Comes the Torah say, here comes the Sabbath, you have to observe the Sabbath, do not create any fire on the seventh day. A person light fire, boom, explode to death. Second person light fire, light a cigarette on the Sabbath, explode to death. Do you think the third person or anybody else would ever dare to move on the Sabbath? People would stand like this, they were afraid to move. The wife will call his name, don't talk until tomorrow night when Sabbath is over. Why? I just saw two people who turn on the light or something that they're not supposed to do on the Sabbath. They died right away. There's no free choice. There's no value to this life. A test means you can do whatever you want. In the end, we're going to calculate what I owe you or what you owe me. That's what it means, a test. If the reward and the punishment would be instant, immediate, there would not be any test here. There's no test. Every charity you give, you doubled your money. Everybody, even the Nazis will come to give money to the yeshivas to learn Torah. Why not? They doubled their money. They care. Everybody will do it. The idea is to give charity and sometimes to lose the next day money in a business. So where is the justice? It's in the Torah. I am faithful to pay everyone in the end what I promise. You either trust me or not. That's what the Torah says. So the Torah says, I spoke to you from the fire, you heard my voice, but you did not see an image. God doesn't have a physical image like some people may imagine him. No physical, no shape, no size. He's filling up the entire universe. Every place you go, God's there. Everywhere. So, we move on. As the Torah continue, the Torah say, today you're becoming a nation. Keep my laws and do them. Again, it's constantly repeat the word you should do, la'asot, to do, not in the heart. To do. This is the world of doing things. The Torah says you should do it with all your heart and all your soul. You making God to be your master, to follow His ways and listen to His orders. And in return, only then, it's a conditional thing, blessing. In return, God is making you a special, able nation. As He promised you if you keep His laws. And to make you, the nation of Israel, above, spiritually, above all the other nations. To make you holy, glorious, as I am God holy, and I'm making you holy. It's interesting. We move on. So remember, next time when you watch or you listen, please pay attention. The Jews are the chosen people only if they follow their obligation in a deal. If they listen to God, they learn His Torah, they do what they need to do, they would of course, people make mistakes, no one is perfect, and the Torah already say it. I don't expect you to be perfect all your life. But I expect you to put all your heart and all your soul by learning and developing to become a righteous person. If you do not do that, don't ever dream that you are anything special, like some people think. They do everything the opposite of what God says, and yet they think that they are the chosen people. No. As a matter of fact, A Gentile that keeps the 7 laws that is obligated is a righteous Gentile, even though he's not a part of God's nation, because God did not choose him to be his son, like the Torah says, but he gives him a lot of respect. Why? He's fulfilling his obligation. Every Gentile can convert and any times he wants. It's not easy because the Jewish nation is not a nation of missionaries like Christians and Muslims and any other cults. All the phony cults and religions are putting billions of dollars to hunt Jewish souls, to get them, to force them, sometimes with a sword. Trillions of dollars over the history. For inquisitions and all kinds of other problems. Why? Phony religions cannot convince anybody to follow it. Only with threatening and all kinds of things. No. The Jews are not running after anybody to join them. The opposite. The Torah says if somebody wants to convert, you have to be as tough as possible to check how sincere he is. To see if he's able to pass this test. If not, it's not fair to make him a Jew. It's become a lot harder for him. And then he's subject to more punishments by not doing what he's supposed to. Keep him a Gentile. Let him keep the 7 laws. It's also a great achievement. So Jews who do not fulfill their obligation perhaps can be in a worse situation than Gentiles that do. So it's not automatically chosen people like something. It's subject to what you're going to do. As I move on, the Torah says, this is in chapter Nitzavim, Deuteronomy 30, when you're going to listen to your God and follow His laws that are written in this book of Torah, and return to your God with all your heart and all your soul. This is the mitzvah, this is the commandments of repentance. We're going to make mistake. We always have a chance to repent and ask God to forgive us. That's why we have Yom Kippur once a year, and every day when we pray, any second a person can make repentance. Once he makes repentance, it changes status automatically. Why? He's asking forgiveness. And God is willing to open him a window. Come on, let's start. Let's see how serious you are. So the Torah says, if you repent and return to God with all your heart and all your soul, remember, this Torah that I'm giving you is not so difficult. It's not far away. It's not in heaven that you may say, who is going to go there and get it for us to teach us that we should do? It's not beyond the ocean to say who is going to bring it that we should do. No. It's very close to you. In your mouth, in your heart, to do it. In your mouth, it's laws that's subject to the mouth. Praying, learning Torah, this is the mouth. In your heart, this is the laws of faith and believing God and trust Him and thinking holy things and not think about bad things. This is in the heart. Where is the evil inclination is in the heart. And the last thing to do, commandments that we do with the hand, like putting tefillin, lulav, etrog, building sukkah, and all kind, making matzah, eating, all these laws. So there are 3 categories. Commandments that are in the mouth, commandments that in the brain, which in the heart, which is thinking what to do, what not to do, and with the hands. Everything is covered in one verse. Comes the next verse is critical. Re'eh, pay attention. I am giving you today the life and the good, the death and the bad. As I order you to love your God and follow His ways. And you will be blessed and have children and multiply over the earth that I'm giving you. Life and the death, blessing and the curse I put in front of you. You should choose the life that you should live, you and your descendants after you. I have a very serious question here. We see that from 6.4 billion people, very small minority listening to God and trying to be righteous. Most people don't care about God. Even if they have a problem, sometimes they scream God, but really in real life, they don't care about Him. They're very ungrateful to Him. Some of them claim they don't recognize Him, they don't believe in Him. We see it. The Torah says very clear, no possibility to translate in 2 different ways, only one explanation. The Torah says, if you're going to listen to me and follow my laws, you would live, you and your children after you. Which means if you are not going to do it, you are dead. You may ask me, what do you mean? The dog doesn't keep the laws of the Torah and he's alive. He's eating, he's running, moving his tail. He has a female. The Gentiles, some of them worship idols. They put a statue and worship idols, like in the East, in the Far East. They don't believe in this God. They're also alive. Some of them are billionaires. Among the Jews, most of the Jews in the world do not observe the Sabbath and many other laws. So they're also alive. What's going on here? But what we call life and what God is calling life is completely two different things. What we call life, it's really not life. If this was life, God would make us chimpanzees or dogs. There's not even one reason why it's better to be a human being than an animal. The animals then don't have to work 30 years to pay the mortgage. They don't have to kill themselves. They don't have doctor's appointment, vaccine, paying for private school, raising children, changing diapers for a few years, one kid after the other. They don't have all this. They don't have to be in traffic 3-4 hours to get to work, to make a living. Maybe there's not going to be food. All kinds of problems that people have. Stress. Did you ever see an animal with white hair? Or getting bald? Never. They don't have stress. They don't have all these symptoms. You saw the lion in the Bronx Zoo is sleeping there for 20 years, enjoying, getting tan. They bring him the food all the way to his mouth. Or in the jungles of Africa. Their life is much easier. They have females as much as they want. They don't have to put a show, buy her a drink, taking her hair, buy her a car, all this phony life. They don't have this. They do whatever they want. No obligation, no threat, no nothing, no Yom Kippur, no you should do, you should not do, everything. So what do we do here? If the purpose of life was just to eat, we could be monkeys. We don't need to be people. If the purpose of life would be to enjoy the physical world, we could be monkeys. If the purpose of life is to have children, like some say, we could be monkeys. If the purpose of life was to enjoy sports, we could be monkeys or fish. It swims better. So what is the purpose of life? The Torah answers this question. The Torah says, "Mutar adam min habehemayin." There's no advantage to the human being from the animals whatsoever. Besides the holy divine soul that God gave the person, and that soul is going to be judged in the afterlife. That's it. That's the advantage. You may say, what advantage? You better be a dog. Eat, not worry about the future, nothing. No. The dog doesn't have life of eternity full of pleasures. He lives here, he dies, finished. You have a ticket. You have to materialize the ticket to live life of eternity. You have to understand it's not simple. Every Jew that was born to a Jewish mother, he has a ticket. But in the back of the ticket, there are a list of conditions. What's the list of the conditions? You should do, you should not do, be careful, you should do. I remember once I had a ticket to a place, and I didn't read the instructions on the back of the ticket. So we went there, my wife and I, to the place, and it turns out that it was a very fancy place. It was a very fancy place. And we were dressed not fancy, like black tie, like we were supposed to. And the guy doesn't let us in. And I said, what do you mean? We have tickets. Pay tickets for the tickets. He said, I'm sorry, you didn't follow the instructions in the back. I can't let you in. He turned on his flashlight and showed us. No sneakers, no leather jacket, no this, no that. You have to come in this time. You have to come. A list of instructions, whatever it was. So what do we see? Just that you're born to the Jewish nation doesn't give you nothing yet. You have to sweat for it. Adam la'amal yulad, a person was born to pass the test. Nobody will get you to life of eternity, only yourself. Your children can help you after, but you yourself, it's 100% in your hand. So the Torah says that you and your children would like to live is not talking about the temporary life here. It's talking about eternal life. As a matter of fact, the prophet Ezekiel repeats this concept with words that, if you listen to that, it gives us real goosebumps, you know. The prophet says that God swore in his name, and this is his words, I swear on my name, God says, that I'm not interested to kill the death. Rather, I'm interested that he will return from his bad ways, that he should live. First question, how can you kill the dead person? I'm not interested to kill the dead. Rather, I want him to return. How the dead can return? He's dead already. What are we speaking about a divine language here? It's not a reporter from the newspaper that made a mistake. It's God. What does he say? I'm not interested to punish the wicked people with all these punishments that I listed in the Torah. I would prefer that they would listen and follow and pass their test, that I should reward them, not punish them. However, since I made a system of justice, I cannot give the same end to the wicked people like the righteous people. It cannot be. Has to be justice. If the wicked people will get the same exact reward like the righteous people, after 7 years of efforts, comes the righteous people to God and would say to him, God, you tricked us. You lied to us. It's not what you promised, that you're the God of justice. How can it be we get the same end like them? So what did we bother for? Why we gave up so many of our desires and plans to follow your ways? Makes sense, no? So the Torah says, I'm not interested to kill the dead. He's already dead. Spiritually he's dead. When he's not connected to me, yeah, he can be sitting in a restaurant eating steak and smiling and listening to all kinds of things and playing basketball. Doesn't matter, whatever he wants to do. Spiritually, his soul is not connected to me. He's dead. Life and death could be on and off. A person can go and learn Torah 2 hours, he's alive. Then he goes and makes sins, he's dead. Then he sleeps, he's dead. Then he's up, he's alive again. On and off. He's eating kosher, he's alive. He's making another sin, he's not alive. In the end, everything is combined to one big life. And how much we're going to get now for this X amount of minutes that we have every day. So remember, I think that in case you're living against the Torah, something like this, if you listen to it, should wake you up. Why? God is calling people who do not listen to his orders in the Torah dead. What can be a biggest embarrassment than this? I'm not interested to kill the dead. He's dead already. I want him to return, that he should live. What kind of life? Life of eternity. That's not what we think life here. Life here the monkeys also have, the dogs also have, with no problems. Their life is much easier. When they give birth, a minute later, the baby is running already. No changing diapers, no mortgage, no problems. So let's move on. The next thing it says, the Torah says, Ve'ata Israel, and now Israel, what is your God asking from you? Besides, to fear him and follow his laws. So we see the concept of fear. Love and fear, it's a combination. It cannot be only love, it cannot be only fear. It has to be balanced. Some people say, no, I don't want to hear about fear. Don't tell me about these things. The answer of the Torah is, don't be a wise guy. Without fear, you cannot follow the right ways. Also, without love, it has to be a combination. It's like body and soul. The soul alone cannot make commandments here, cannot practice anything. The body alone without the soul is worthless. The value of the body in a laboratory, it's less than $2. The minerals, the salt, the iron, the water, whatever we have in the body is nothing. When a person dies, obviously nobody sues for $2 for his life. People understand that his spiritual value, that will determine the lawsuit. The Torah continues and the Torah says, I torture you. Yes, there is a concept of God is giving us hard tests, and sometimes it's hard for us. And we're about to break and give up. And the Torah already told us the outcome. The Torah says, I'm torturing you. I'm giving you a hard time. Maybe it's the better way to use, to test you. I'm testing you. No, what's the test? To see what's going to be in your heart. Are you going to be faithful to my commandments or not? So what's the order? I'm giving you a hard time. Cannot find a job. The car is stuck in the highway 20 below zero. Problems with the children. You can't get married. You can't find a wife. You don't feel good. You have migraines. Millions of different problems. I'm giving you problems. What's the point of giving you problems? Not because I'm sadistic and sitting here and enjoy like some fools may think. No. It's because it's a part of my test. Why? Would you going to kick and everything and give up, or you going to be strong and follow the instructions? And this is a part of the test. I'm testing you. Only after you perform and prove that you're listening and you are following everything, with good or bad, doesn't matter, then I'm going to perform as well. I am going to reward you in your end for you and your children after you forever. Forever. Forever means eternity. So in case you wonder if you're going to be rewarded after life, the Torah is not a newspaper. The Torah says clearly, after you follow my test, I will reward you forever, forever and ever. Billions of years is not even the beginning. The Torah says if you take all the pleasure of all the righteous people, of all, not only the righteous people, all the people in the creation from the beginning to the end, everybody, billions of people, whatever you can think of, sport, women, money, hobbies, anything you can think of, combined, food, good food, delicious, everything combined, of all the people together, will not be equal to 1 hour of the reward of one righteous person in the next life. Will not be equal. Where does it say it? The Torah says, Yafa sha'a achat shel korat ruach, 1 hour of pleasure in the next life, ba'olam haba, in the next life, is more than the entire life on this planet of everyone combined. From this entire world. Can you believe this? And what is going to be the reward? It's hard to know. Why? We have no way to know. We have no tools to understand. The Torah uses a very interesting example. The Torah says righteous people sit in the next world and sucking, enjoying from the greatness of God. It's a spiritual pleasure that there's no way to describe. In this life, when we have here and there some little spiritual pleasure, we feel so great. People are searching for spirituality everywhere. That's peanuts compared to that pleasure. If you read, if you learn Torah, you would know what I'm talking about. And God says, forever and ever. For what? For eating kosher, for keeping the Sabbath, for putting tefillin 5 minutes a day, for praying at least once a day, talking to me when you have a problem, raising your children to be Jewish and follow my ways, and few other things to do. And that's it. It's much easier today to be a Jew with all the technology. It's very easy. All these timers on the Sabbath and the hot trays and all these things. It makes our life a lot easier today. Plus, most of the commandments are not in effect now. It's not relevant now because we don't have the temple. Like 80% of the laws are not relevant to our generation. We're left with much, much limited obligation. And we still do not listen to God. It's hard to believe. And I always say it's not because we are evil or bad. Most of us is because of ignorance. We never read the Torah once in our life. How can we keep? The Torah says, Ena ma'aretz chasid. No ignorant can become righteous. It never happened and it will never happen, ever. As I continue, the Torah says, you should know in your heart the same way a father is strict with his son. This is how your God is strict with you. Out of love, not out of revenge or being sadistic, God forbid. Same way a father that loves his son sometimes give him a punishment, be in a room for an hour, for what you just did or what you're about to do. It's because he loves him. He doesn't want to see the boy sitting in a room and crying. It's an educational punishment. It's to push you to the right direction, God says. Be very careful. that you should never forget the days that you received this Torah from me. It repeats constantly, almost in every chapter. Now come people and say, okay, Rabbi, I really want to be more observant and more religious. But you know, there's so much to do. And I have businesses, I open on a Sabbath, and you know, how I'm going to make a living, my business is not kosher, I'm a cheater, I'm stealing, I'm a salesman, I cheat my customers, I sell not kosher, I'm full of baloney. How exactly I'm going to be righteous? First of all, it's a process. Nobody became Moses overnight. And God knows it, and the Torah says, open me the size of the needle, and I'll open you the whole world. And the Torah says, I am supervising you, and I'm feeding you, and everything you have comes from me, so what do you worry? Trust me. Same thing when he gave them bread from heaven, he told them, do not keep for tomorrow. Eat today everything I gave you, tomorrow I'll still take care of you. Some of them did not believe God. They saved, they put in a jars away for tomorrow. What happened, the Torah says? It all became full of worms. Why? As a punishment. Today, when God is hiding himself in a creation, it's much harder for us to see supervision. But if you really learn and watch and pay attention, you have to be blind not to see. And not only that, the Torah says, ועשית הישר והטוב בעיני השם. You should do the good and the decent in the eyes of your God, that you should be later be benefit from it. The Torah didn't say do what's logical in your eyes. Do what's good, what you learn in Harvard University or Tel Aviv University. That's not what the Torah says. The Torah says, do what's good and decent in my eyes. Not what the newspaper teach you every day. What I say, that I will reward you, I will benefit you for what you're doing. Leman yetav lach, for your own good. You're not doing me a favor, God says, for keeping the laws. You're actually helping yourself, not for me. I'm complete with or without you. I was here before you, I'll be here after you. I set the rules with a test for you. You follow, you win. You don't, you pay a big price. It will be a very heavy price to pay. Same thing, the reward is huge. Sometimes the punishment is huge. So the Torah say, why are you worried that you're not going to be able to make a living if you're not going to be a crook? Wrong. Let's read. I'm giving you cities full of greatness that you did not build. Houses full of wealth and full of goods that you did not fulfill. Wells that are digged, but you did not dig them. Vineyards, olives that you did not plant. You should eat, enjoy, and be full. But be careful not to be ungrateful and forget the God that took you out of Egypt. I released you from slavery to freedom to make you my children. Because your God is a strict God. He may get angry at what you do, and God forbid, we see it all the time, will destroy you from the face of the earth. Do not test your God as you did in the desert. Do not test God. He's not your friend from high school. You want to win? Just listen. Sometimes you don't understand. No big deal. Who's to say that you have to understand everything? When you go to the doctor and you say you need a surgery, you're going to sit now 7 years to learn in medical school until you understand the logic of what the doctor is telling you? No. You say, yes, sir, yes, doctor. I trust your judgment. You're 20 years of doctors. You learn, you know. I do not know about medicine. I trust your judgment. Same thing with the computer, with accounting, with lawyers. Same thing. Who's to say that you have to know everything in every different field? No. And the Torah continue. Be careful that you won't be fool and you build yourself beautiful houses and your sheep and cows will multiply and gold and silver you'll have plenty and you become a proud person and in the end you'll forget your God. And then you may say, thanks to my talent, Thanks to my ability, I became so successful. This is all clear verses in the Torah, but the problem is nobody ever read that. Most people never read that. They have millions of questions and the answer is right, black on white. Simple Hebrew. And you may say, thanks to my talent and my strength, I'm so successful. You have to remember that everything you have came from me, God. I gave you the talent to be successful. And right here in the same page is Deuteronomy 8, verse 9. Verse 12 and then 9 in the same page. It says like this. You should say, you should know that sometimes I'm strict with you to test you. להטיבך באחריתך. And all of that is that I'll be able to reward you in the end. As I said before, and we move on. Now comes the question. In that case, we see like wicked people receive a lot of wealth in this life, and righteous people not always. Sometimes do, sometimes not. So what's really exactly happening here? The concept is very simple. The more we earn here, the more we are going to receive in the afterlife, which is eternal. However, we're also making sins in this life. So if we do most of our things is good deeds, and some of it is sins, God is paying us for the sins in this life, that when we come in front of Him to our trial, there's a 1-year trial in heaven after. 1-year trial. In the afterlife, He pays us in this life for the sins, that we come clean, and He just give us the reward. We go to heaven and we're done with this test. We don't have to be reincarnated here again. But if we most of our days it sins, and here and there we make some commandments, most people sometimes they wicked, once in a while they give donation, in their bar mitzvah they put tefillin once in their life, maybe, a few mitzvot here and there, they put mezuzah maybe in their door. So God owes them. He's faithful to pay for even the smallest commandment. And the Torah says, I'm faithful to pay everyone exactly what he deserves. However, it's 80 or 90% sins. Only 10% mitzvot. Only 10% commandments. So God says, since your dream is to be rich and famous and successful, and you have few things that I owe you, I will pay you in this life. But I get rid of you. When you come to your trial, I owe you nothing. You may say, I put mezuzah, I'll show you 3 houses that you had for that. I gave donation, I show you a beautiful wife and beautiful children. I put tefillin once in my life, you got saved from the police for something that you did, I saved you. Everything you may say, God will show you what He paid you for that commandments that you kept. Where does it say it in the Torah? It's beautiful. To give beautiful speeches is very nice. But we want proof. And the only way to prove is first to prove that the Torah is divine, it can never be written by a human being. The next step is to start reading what God says. That's His opinions. The chapter of Va'etchanan, Deuteronomy 7, verse 9. You should know that your God is the faithful God who always keeps His covenant, and the mercy to His lovers who keep His commandments. Who is considered a lover of God? Someone who listens to Him, not someone who gives beautiful speeches. Someone who listens to Him. For 1,000 generations. This is the end of this verse. I am the faithful God who keep always my covenant and the mercy to my lovers who keep my mitzvot for 1,000 generations. We only live 1 generation here. No, don't worry. The soul lives in a body 1 generation. Once the soul exits the body, I take it up there to the spiritual worlds. There's life of eternity, and that's where the reward's going to be. And what comes right after that? Shocking. Shocking. This is what it says. And paying my haters cash to their face to get rid of them. I will not delay their payment. I will pay them cash to their face. This is right here, Deuteronomy 7, chapter 9. Open the Bible now and read. Don't have to believe me. Let's conclude that in case you did not understand. If you're mostly righteous and you make some sins, I'll make you suffer for those sins here and there. You lose here, you lose a deal. Sometimes you lost your house. Sometimes it was hard with the children, hard with work, traffic, problems, some sicknesses. But I cleaned you out from all your sins. You're done. Now you come, I owe you eternity. But if you mainly 90% sins or 95 or 99%, you do some good things in your life, I collect everything and I paid you for that in this life. But remember, the reward was 10, 20, 30 or 40 years and that's it. It's a blink of the eye before you realize it will be over all this illusion. But when you come there, 1 year trial. In the trial, the Torah says you're going to see your entire life. From the minute you crawl on a rug as a baby until the moment you died. Every thought, every scenario, everything is going to be reviewed for good or for bad. And then there's a verdict with a reward or punishment. Depends what you deserve. Once you come there, you may complain. I did this, I did that. I'm going to show you that I paid you for everything. But you have no share to the world to come. You lost it. God forbid. Sometimes it's so painful in the heart to see for such stupid things. People are going to lose so much. And it all is a result of ignorance. Not evilness, no. Ignorance. That's our job. Everyone who can educate the Jews to wake up from their dream, from the world of illusion, it's an obligation. It's not a choice anymore. It's like standing on a road and think somebody is about to die. Wouldn't you jump to pull him, to save him from a car hitting him? The Torah continues. I am the faithful God who does not receive a bribe and give everyone exactly what he deserves. Do not move from the way that I order you. If you're going to listen to me, I am going to fight for you against your enemies. Why don't you believe it what I promise? Deuteronomy 1, verse 29 to 32. And another page. Since I made you a holy nation, no racism, no discrimination. Do not get the wrong impression. I made you special from all the other nations. I gave you a new mission in life until the acceptance of the Torah in Mount Sinai. You had only 7 laws to keep like the rest of the Gentiles. Now I made a covenant, an eternal covenant with you, which I promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that I will benefit their children after them, not because you're righteous, because of your fathers. You got lucky that I owed your fathers this for them being faithful and righteous to me, and I promised them that I will never leave their children after. Never. Like the Christian thought that maybe God gave up on the Jews and gave somebody else the mission. No. It's clearly inside the Torah that God promised, I will never replace to Jacob. I will never replace your descendants with any other nation. So I don't know what got into their mind. How can they ignore clear verses in so many different places? But besides that, because of that, the Torah says, I do not allow you to marry any other people besides the Jewish nation. She may be a beautiful girl with a heart of gold, decent, with great manners, from a good family, and sometimes even wealthy. Everything is perfect. She'll be a perfect wife. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's not my choice. Whether she's good or not, it doesn't matter. I'm not allowed. If a person made those laws, then he's a racist. It could be Adolf Hitler. What's the difference? Who's to say which person is better than the other, who can marry, who cannot marry? Of course, it's racism. But when the manufacturer of all people say, you cannot be with them, this is one league and this is a different league, I just do not allow you. And it's clearly, where does it say it, in case you wonder? It's right here, and also in Deuteronomy. Do not make a covenant with them. Do not marry their daughters. Do not marry their son. Because you are a holy nation. Your God chose you from all the nation to be a special nation. You are less than all the nations. Not because you are more than all the nations. You are the smallest nation. This was written 3,320 years. He was right, apparently. There's only 13.2 million Jews in the world. That's it. We started in the same generation like the Chinese people. 4,200 years after the flood that destroyed the whole world and kept Noah with his 3 sons and their wives in the ark. When they came out of the ark, the world restarted again. We should have been just as much as the Chinese and even more, because the Jews have no restriction on birth like they have in China, 1 kid only. We are only 13.2 million and they are close to 2 billion. Intermarriage, assimilation, all kinds of death because of the punishments that God gave us brought us to be the smallest nation in history. Even today, the smallest nation in the whole world. And God says, I'm watching over you every day from heaven to see who is a brilliant person that is searching for me. Who is a brilliant person in the eyes of God? Not somebody who went to Columbia or Yale or Harvard. No. They also could be clever people and with education. I'm not saying no. But that's not what God called intelligence. A real intelligence, something that has blessing in it, means I'm searching for you, God. Like King David, read the entire Psalms. Half of it is only searching for God. Show me your way. Help me to be close to you. Show me my purpose in life. Show me never to upset you, never to be ungrateful, and many examples. So, it's all verses. Once you read, it's very clear. I want to tell you before we finish something that will make us think. You know, the Torah says that when a person died, the main problem in the afterlife, before we're talking about the physical punishment, you may ask me, how can it be physical punishment if the soul went up and the body went to the grave? The body didn't go to the heaven, to the upper world. The answer is, it's exactly like in a dream, a simulation. Same thing a person can dream. The longest dream, the scientist says, is 9 seconds. Some say a minute. It doesn't matter. It's a very short period of time, the dream. Sometimes a person wakes up from a horrible dream and he describes to his wife 6 months of suffering. I was in the ocean, they took me, they put me in prison, they were beating me up every day, and I didn't have food, I was starving, I was crying, I was sick, I went to the hospital, and then the wife said, what do you mean, you're only sleeping 5 minutes? How in a minute or two that you fell asleep, you're already telling me a 6-month story with details and conversations that you had with the doctors and what you did in a boat and with people and while you were in a prison. How does it fit in 1 or 2 minutes? Because it's the soul, not the body. The soul is not limited to time. Once the soul goes out of the body, like in a dream, a part of it goes up. That's the Torah teaching us. God can do anything He wants with that soul. If He wants the soul to feel 1,000,000 years, the soul feel 1,000,000 years. So the punishment, in case you wonder how is it possible, physical punishment, is exactly like the feeling in a dream. If a person feels he's burning in a dream, 100%. He feels it actual. It takes hours, Then later when he comes back to reality, he finds out that it was all a dream. But in the middle of the dream, it was 100% suffering. So there's no question, how can it be physical punishments? It's 100%. Like the F-16 pilots, they go into a special assimilation. When they comes out, they sweat, their face is red, they can hardly hold the helmet. Why? They're only sitting in an electronic device there and move like this, and it wasn't really a plane. It's 100%. You should see how they come out. It's called assimilation. Simulation. You know, so the Torah said that the main punishment of a person is the embarrassment. That the person see what he did and he realize what a shame. I once said a beautiful analogy is sometimes a person comes to make a scene and he sees a goy, a non-Jew runs next to him. How are you doing? As soon as he saw him, he doesn't feel comfortable of making the scene. Sometimes he comes to make a scene, he see a little kid, 2 years old. Go to mommy, don't stare at me, go. The kid doesn't want to move. The person goes away, doesn't make the scene. Sometimes a person comes to make a scene and the dog is staring at him. And he's trying to push the dog away from the room, but the dog doesn't want to move. So he tells his girlfriend, okay, let's go. I cannot make a scene in front of this dog here. I'll come in another time. This is the story. What we learn from it? After 120 years that we will be forced to leave this world, it's not up to us. We have to know one thing. We come in front of God. He's going to ask each one of us, am I worse than a dog in your eyes? Tell me. I fed you for 70, 80 years. I took care of all your needs. I married you. I gave you children. I saved you from hundreds of thousands of tragedies. Everything you had, your car, your house, your telephone, your clothing, your food, everything I gave you. What did I ask from you? To keep few laws a day? To be a decent person? Not to be a thief? To rest one day on a Sabbath? To make it holy? To pray a little bit? To talk to me? To learn my Torah? What did I ask from you? When you went to make a scene in front of the dog, you couldn't do it. You were embarrassed from the dog. What about me? Didn't you read in the Torah that the Torah said there's an eye who watch over you? There's a ear who listens to you? And everything you do has been registered in a book of God. Didn't you see that? I'm worse than a dog? You didn't see that I'm watching what you do, everything behind the doors, in hidden rooms? What are we going to say? Where are we going to hide? From the embarrassment. It's horrible. The shame, you can see in this life that is the worst punishment. A person will give any physical pain in order for him to save 1 minute of embarrassment. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you saw, once in your life at least, a boxing match. Two boxers hit one another. Usually one is falling and the other one is winning. It's called a knockout. What happened always to the boxer who loses? Once he falls on the floor, the referee counts until 10, and the fight is over, and there's a winner. He made a lot of money, he became the champ. What happened to the loser always? Pay attention next time if you watch. First thing he's trying to do is to grab the rope, climb back on his feet, and wave to the crowd. Wow, why? He's suffering horrible physical pain. His head is pounding, his back is breaking, can hardly see anything. He hears screaming noise. In 1 hour we're going to find that he died in a hospital, which happens occasionally. What was on his mind is only one thing: to avoid the 1 minute embarrassment. That's why he was doing everything he can to wave to the crowd. I am still standing. I wasn't defeated. Here I am. I'm still alive. I didn't lose by a lot. He did not knock me out. To save the 1 minute embarrassment, is willing to suffer for the rest of his life with his physical damage or the pain that he's having right now. It's irrelevant. Let me just prevent the embarrassment. The rest I don't care. We see it all the time. And the next life, the real punishment is the embarrassment, because that's it. It's not the world of lies like here. You can lie as much as you want and you get away with that. No. Over there, it's all going to be displayed. There's no way to run. Read the Torah, learn. I did not write it. People are running after money. They give everything they can. I once gave this story about a person that 70 years he made a lot of money, and he made $100 million. He's 70 years old right now. 70 years old. And after 70 years, he's dead, he's sick. After 70 years, he's sick with cancer in a hospital. There's no cure for his disease. Comes a doctor, show him a little bottle and say, hey, I have the solution for your problem. I can cure you right away and get you out of the hospital tomorrow. See this bottle, it cost me $1 to make it. But I will charge you $99 million for that. I will leave you $1 million to live, don't worry. I won't make you starve. I'm a nice guy. I check your financials and I will sell you this cure for $99 million. Nobody knows about it. I only have it. That's why, if you want it, buy it from me. The answer is, of course he would buy it. Nobody wants to die. When people, before they die, they beg for their life. I saw it many times in hospitals, how people die, how they beg, they have tears. They don't want to die. They give everything they have. So the question is, a person went to work when he was 20 years old. 50 years he worked, conventions, trip, running, flying, courts, fighting with the partners, working for 6 in the morning, coming back late at night, meetings, giving up life with his wife and children, neglect his private life, running out, so much efforts and stress, IRS, problem, all kinds of things. Finally, he saved $100 million. Now, when he's sick, he's willing to give almost everything to buy maybe another day of life. Nobody promised him how long he's going to live. He's going to get cured tomorrow and get out of the hospital. Maybe tomorrow he'll die out of sickness, out of being old. Or maybe he's going to get another sickness. After all, he's not a young guy, he's 70. The question that I ask, why, when now we have 3 days, we don't take advantage of them? Why? Every day now could be worth $100 million for us, because one day we're going to need these days. It will be too late. Now we have the days, especially the young ones. Everything is in front of you all your life. Take advantage on it. Take advantage. But people don't take advantage. You should know one choice can affect your entire life. It works exactly like the GPS that we have in our cars. Once you miss one exit, the GPS told you get off this direction. It recalculates and everything in your future change. The highways change, the exits change, going in different places. It could be more traffic, it could be a lot harder. Yes, of course. You are 20 years old, you have a choice. You have a beautiful young girl, but no fear from God. She's not righteous. She's 20, you want to marry her, and you have a girl that is not so beautiful, but very righteous. You chose the beauty, you ignore the righteousness, you chose the beauty, your life will never be the same. With the righteous girl, you could have become a great rabbi and have yeshiva and have students and teach Torah, and your children are great, and eventually, the most important thing, you materialize your ticket for life of eternity. With the other girl, you're lucky if you even get there, in the lowest level. So you see the one choice affecting your eternity. Not only you, your children, it's a chain reaction. You know, there's an amazing story that we should learn a lot from it. When in the Holocaust, when the Americans and the Russians liberates the camps, one American Jewish soldier, his name was Winiger. He was going in a forest and he saw a 12-year-old Jewish boy running, very skinny, poor kid, hardly has clothes on him. He runs in the forest. The soldier runs after him with a gun, and he saw that the boy is digging under a tree and he's taking out a menorah, a Hanukkah menorah, a silver one. Was afraid maybe he's pulling out a gun or something to shoot at him, so he was nervous. Once he saw that it's only a menorah, the soldier called him and said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm also a Jew. I'm a Jew from America, from New York. I'm a soldier." So once the boy felt comfortable with him, the boy started to cry. "I lost my father, and I don't know what happened to my mother. They took her away, and probably she's also dead. I'm alone here. I don't have nowhere to go. I don't know what to do. This is the only thing I have left for my family, this menorah. It's been going on in our family for 200 years, from generation to generation. I was able to hide it here before they took it." So the American soldier felt so bad for this boy. It's a true story. It happens here, right after the Holocaust. He said, "Don't worry, I'll take you with me to New York. I'll adopt you. I'll try to help you as much as I can." He took him with him to New York. He brought this menorah with him. That's all he has in his life. That's it, one silver menorah, antique, from 200 years ago. Once he lived by his house here in New York, one day, these Winiger friends worked for the Museum of Art in New York. He came to pay a visit. As soon as he saw that menorah, he realized right away it's a treasure. And he asked him, where did you get this silver menorah? It's a very famous antique thing. He told him it belongs to this boy. He turned to the boy and said, I'm giving you a check, $50,000 for this menorah. You know, this is 60 years ago. It's like $2 million today, if you calculate. For this menorah, to sell it to the museum. A very big test. 12 and a half years old. Has nothing in his life, no parents, no family, not a penny. Hardly, he doesn't even speak English. He just came to America. Opportunity to become a millionaire overnight. What's the big deal? He sells the menorah. No, he says, this is as an honor to my father and mother's memory. I give up the money. He doesn't want to sell. The guy cannot believe. Bargains with him, maybe give him more. He doesn't want the boy to hear. Don't continue, I'm not selling it. Okay, the guy got disappointed and left. A few days later, Hanukkah came. A few weeks later, Hanukkah came. In the middle of Hanukkah, the boy is very excited. They put the menorah by the window. He puts oil. He's making the bracha and praying to God. This is reminding him of his parents. In the second or the third days of Hanukkah, somebody knocks on the door. Miniger opened the door, yes. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I was passing by and I saw this beautiful menorah you have by the window and it reminds me Germany. Can I take a look at that if you don't mind? A Jewish woman, European accent. He let her in, she comes to the menorah, she's holding it, she's crying, she's all shivering. What happened, man? You okay? Where did you get this menorah from? It used to be mine in Germany. As she speaks, the little boy comes out of the room, almost fainted to see his mother. What got him back to his mother? That he respected their parents. God said, you know what, you deserve to get your mother back. Maybe it wasn't my plan, but now you get it back. Who knows how his life would be without that choice that he picked. He made the right choice. And in the end, he got results from it. I don't have to tell you, try to imagine this exciting moment. In a world with billions of people, where will he find his mother? After Germany, he was sure she's dead. He wouldn't even look for her. And all of a sudden, he comes to New York, he puts this menorah by the window, the mother passed by, supervision of God to seize and get her child back. There are many stories, there are books like this about amazing stories like this that we can learn a lot from this. You know, there's Rabbi Silver from Cincinnati. You see, one Shabbat, somebody comes to his synagogue on Sabbath and puts a yarmulke on his head. He's not religious. He knows how to pray. He knows everything. He even speaks Yiddish, but he's not religious. So the rabbi comes to him and says, how can it be? You know all the laws, but you're not keeping anything? He said, no, I'm done with God. Forget it. I don't want to hear. So the rabbi told him, why you speak like this? What's the problem? He said, if you would see what I saw in the Holocaust, Rabbi, you also wouldn't be religious. We hear it. The rabbi said, what did you hear? What did you see? He said, you see, we were standing 17 hours. The Nazis would make us stand 17 hours from morning to night when they didn't have what to do with us. We were very skinny. We had one piece of bread. We're standing like this. And some of us are fainting, they shoot. You move a little bit, they shoot. You're not allowed to look. Horrible days. One time my friend behind me say, Fischel, it's 5 minutes before sunset. Soon it's going to get dark. So I say to him, what do I care now? It's getting dark. So we didn't put the feeling all day. In 5 minutes we won't be able to do it. This is the level that we were at. I was very religious, he says. He said, but I tell you why I left everything. We had one guy in a camp that had one pair of tefillin. Nobody were able to smuggle a pair. Only that guy was able to get it. And he found that he's the only one who has. And he made a business out of it. You have to give him something, a potato, a piece of bread, a cigarette, something. If not, he doesn't let you put the tefillin. 5 in the morning when it's freezing, we're getting up, going out, risking our life every morning to put the tefillin on. You understand what we're talking here about? If the Nazis guard come and see us, he shoots all of us, he kills us. Life risk. Well, we didn't give up. So there was the line, people standing on line to put. Everybody gives him something and he let him put. One old person came and said, I'm sorry, I gave you everything I had. I don't have what to give you anymore. Please, let me put. Please, don't let me lose it. All my life, I didn't waste a day. I didn't lose a day. The guy told him, I'm very sorry. It's strictly business. No payment, not feeling. I was standing there watching this. At that moment, I got so angry. And I say, you know what? If religion is all about business, I'm done with this. I don't want anything to do with this. That's his words to Rabbi Silver on that Sabbath there. Rabbi Silver told him, your ears should listen to your foolish mouth. Hundreds of Jews gave the last thing they had in their life in this world. Piece of bread, potatoes, cigarettes, sweater, whatever they had, they gave to put feeling not to miss the day. Hundreds of righteous Jews were standing over there not to miss one commandment. You did not learn anything from them. Finally, one wicked Jew, you learn everything from him. Who are you telling stories? It's all excuses. Guess what happened from this moment? The guy opened up his eyes and started to cry. He's crying non-stop. You realize what just happened? Rabbi, you're right. It's all excuses. I messed up my whole life. The rabbi told him, it's not late, my friend. As long as a person is alive and breathing, he can still make repentance. Yes, he lost many years of reward, but he can open a new page with God. Maybe sometimes a person make repentance, he's going to have a chance to be reincarnated to a better life in a different body and start from the beginning. What got him that second chance is the repentance he made before he died. Once he died, it's too late. There's no more repentance. No more tshuva. The Torah says, "Bederech she'adam rotze lilech molichim oto." In a way that a person chooses to walk through, God is walking him there. You want to be righteous, God is helping you. You want to be a murderer, God is helping you. When you go to kill your victim, who gave you the talent to aim and to shoot, to get the gun, to run from the police, to hide, all these things? Who help you to move every second? You may say, why God? Why did you help me to murder? Didn't you know it's a disaster that one day I'll regret it? The answer is, I do not interfere with the free choice of the people. It's all a part of the test. I'm very sorry you did it. It's against the 10 Commandments. But what can I do? What can I do? The Torah says, Ish ba'ar lo yeda. An ignorant will never know. Uksi lo yavin et zot. And a foolish person will never understand. Bifroach reshaim kmo esev. That the wicked people popping up from everywhere like grass, like weeds. They popping everywhere. Vayatzitzu kol po'alei ha'aven. All the wicked people are popping, they're controlling, they're in charge of everything. In the media, in the politics, and they're famous. Everywhere you go, you see plenty of them. Until you see one righteous person, it's very difficult. Bifroach reshaim kmo esev, like weeds. What's the end of the sentence? Lehishamdam adead. Moment before I destroy them and cut them permanently, I let them rise. I owe them, what can I do? I have to pay them before. You know, we have to understand what's going on here. The Torah says, I'm not interested to kill the dead. He's dead already spiritually. What's the point? Please help me not to do what the Torah warned. No. Make repentance, save me the punishment, save me all this pain and agony. Just before we finished, you know, people would not behave the way they are if they see the immediate reward. But then it wouldn't be a test. One person, Reuven, told his friend Shimon, do me a favor, take this bag full of diamonds, go all the way climbing a mountain, it's very hot outside and humid, do me this favor, take it to my friend Joseph, he's over there in the mountain, and give it to him, and I will really appreciate it. So he takes the bag, he begins to walk. After 10 minutes, he's sweating, his back is breaking. Wow, what did I do? Why did I agree? Why do I always volunteer to these kinds of missions? He's eating his heart. Now, the guy, Reuven, that sends him on a mission, is watching him with his binoculars this whole time, and he's laughing. Look at him. He's very upset. After 10 minutes that he sees sitting on a rock, his wife is calling him. He's very angry. What did I do? Why are you bothering me now? You always have the wrong timing. Then Reuven is calling him up. Shimon, why are you so upset over there? I forgot to tell you one very important detail. What is it? When you get all the way out to the mountain, my friend Joseph is taking one diamond from this whole bag, and all the rest of the diamonds is your reward for taking it up for me. I appreciate it very much. I have to go. Goodbye. What would happen now to this guy Shimon that was sitting, cursing, upset on the floor and wants to kill himself from disappointment? Get up like a lion, like a tiger, getting up the bag. It's not heavy anymore. It's not hot. It's not suffering anymore. Now if his wife is going to call again, oh, darling, very good you're calling, perfect timing, everything changed. Why? The weather is the same weather. The body is the same body. The weight of the bag is the same weight. Everything is the same. Something changed in the mind. He just realized, I'm not doing it for him. I'm doing it for myself. I'm earning. This is what God says to us so many places in the Torah, but we are blinded. We're blinded by our sometimes stupidity. I don't know how to call it. We are blinded. We don't read. How many times you need God to repeat in the Torah that everything you do for yourself? You will see that I'm faithful to pay you your reward. I'm not a politician that promised before the election that I'm going to do everything before the election, and comes after the election, I don't remember a word. No. I'm the faithful God. And when I promise something, I always keep my word. In the Holocaust, the Nazis used to make the test on the Sabbath. The Torah say, and the nation of Israel observed the Sabbath to make the Sabbath an eternal covenant. Between me and the nation of Israel, it's a sign for eternity that I am God, created the world in 6 days, and in 7 days I rested. You should not violate the rules of my Sabbath. It's an eternal covenant. And a Jew that will do that, God forbid, if they would only know what they're bringing on themselves, they'll never dare to do it. And if a Jew would only know, ignorance is very, very painful price. The Torah say, someone who cut himself out of my Torah by not keeping my Sabbath, actually cut himself out of Judaism. Why? That's the foundation of all Judaism, the Sabbath. This is the eternal covenant. It's a special day for me. It's a holy day. It's a rest from this world and going to the spiritual world. And God says, and that soul is been cut. God forbid, I'm scared even to say it. Is been cut out of my nation permanently. Read, it's inside the Torah 12 times, more than anything else, besides loving the converts. Almost everything else, 12 different times it repeats. Do not dare to violate the Sabbath. If person review the 10 commandments, is go from the most important to the least important. The first one, I am the God that took you out of Egypt. The second one, you should not have any other God. The third one, do not swear and lie in the name of God. All three ones, it's really one, because it's all about, you should know there's one God, respect him, don't use his name for making sins. Okay. What comes right after? Observe the Sabbath. It's a holy day. It's the eternal covenant between me and the nation of Israel for generation, for eternity. To teach the world that I created this world in 6 days, in 7 days I rested. That's why you, the Jew, you are my representative in the world here. You have to do what I say. And don't worry, I'll pay you for that. You're not doing it for free. Most of the Jews today, they grow up to an environment, they don't even know that the Sabbath is something special. They drive, they smoke, they turn electric on. They sew, they write, they do all kinds of sins that they're not supposed to, and they're not even aware of what's going on. They're violating the most important covenant. Ignorance again. In the time of the Holocaust, the Nazis make the trials on the Sabbath to humiliate the Jews as much as possible. And one time they brought a woman, they blame her that she gave bread to somebody beyond the fence. She threw a loaf of bread, and the soldiers caught her and brought her to trial. The judge is a Jew. The capos, the police are Jews. The person who writes the protocol is a Jew. And the defendant is also a Jew. Everyone is a Jew. The audience is German Nazi soldiers. It's a show for them. They bring the woman on a Sabbath. They ask the judge, the Jewish judge, ask her, ma'am, are you the one who threw the bread? You know, it's against the law here in this camp. Did you throw the bread? She doesn't answer. He asks 3-4 times. She doesn't answer. The Nazi tells the judge one last chance. If she doesn't answer, execution. She doesn't answer. Her son screaming from the audience, Mom, it wasn't you. You were with us. We all of us are witnesses. She doesn't answer. The poor judge, what can he do? He said, death sentence. They take her out. As she walks out, her son comes to hold her hand. Mommy, why are you committing suicide? The Torah says a person has to do everything to survive, not to give up life. Why are you doing it? Why you didn't speak? It wasn't you. She looked at her son and said, you fool! If I would answer, the Jew that writes the protocol would have to write on the Sabbath. Don't you know it's against the laws of God? It's a holy day. Why should I make him execute himself by making a sin to save my own life? She made a very big mistake in the law, because the Torah says that if a person has a life risk, then the law is postponed. It's been put on hold until the life risk is over. She didn't know that part. But how much she was willing to give for one violation, not to do it. One sin not to make. And nobody puts a gun to our head. We choose to make all these sins out of ignorance, sometimes out of foolishness. If we only knew how much we lose for the little that we gain by going to the mall or to the beach for an hour or two, that we watch something on the Sabbath on television or do certain things that we like to do, how much we are losing, we will never forgive ourselves. And time is up. We basically conclude. There's a lot more to say. If you are interested in more information, please go into my website, divineinformation.com, and you have many hundreds of lectures over there. And just before I finish, I'll tell you the last story to keep you with a great memory from this lecture. There was one guy, Maurice Schechter. He's a secular Jew from London. He's sitting with Goldstein in a plane, one observant Jew, religious. They sit together on a plane, and the religious Jew is trying to convince him to put tefillin. He said, no, leave me alone. I'm a survivor from the Holocaust. I'm not interested. I'm done with him. I'm done. As they arrive to Israel, the religious Jew said, wow, I didn't even get his telephone number. We've been talking for 10 hours, and I didn't get to be in touch with him. Maybe I will inspire him. So he's eating his heart. What can he do? It was the time of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The religious guy is going to King David Hotel in Jerusalem for the 10 days of the month of Tishrei, between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. He has a special chazan. They brought an Ashkenazi cantor that has supposedly the greatest voice, one of the best in the world. And the wealthy people go, it's a very expensive hotel, but they go to spend 2 weeks over there every year. And every year they bring a good chazan. So this year they brought a new cantor, and he's going to sing. And this Maurice, whatever he does in Israel, he does. In the middle of the prayer on Yom Kippur, they have a break for 1 hour. Goldstein is going on the street, he's walking, breathing some fresh air. Guess who he sees? Maurice Schechter is sitting on a bench eating a sandwich on Yom Kippur that the Torah said that you have to fast. In the street! That was very rare in those days, that somebody would dare to sit in the street and eat a sandwich in Yom Kippur on the street in public. He's eating the sandwich. He's looking at him. And he say, Maurice, I can't believe I found you. I didn't stop thinking about you. You eating a sandwich on Yom Kippur on the street? He said, I told you I'm done with him. I'm not a hypocrite. I do whatever I want, yes. He said, okay, Maurice, let's not get into it. But one thing I want you to do, please. You told me about your son, Moshe. You told me about him that, he died, the Nazis killed him, and since then you finished with religion and everything. Your son's name was Pinchas. You told me about your son, Pinchas, that the Nazis killed. Now, inside the shul, they make a special prayer for the souls of all the deceased people. I want you to come 10 minutes and give the cantor his name to make a special prayer for your son. You done with him, but you didn't done with your son. He's thinking, hesitating. I say, okay, I'll come. He throw the sandwich away. He comes in the middle of Yom Kippur inside King David Hotel. He goes inside and he comes to this cantor. He says to him, can you make a special prayer for my son? So what's your son's name? He say, Pinchas. Pinchas ben Moshe. Maurice is Moshe in Hebrew. So he say, Pinchas ben Moshe. So the counter say, Pinchas ben Moshe what? What's the last name? He say, Shechter. The cantor scream, Dad! Father! 35 years I'm looking for you. I can't believe you came all the way to me in the middle of Yom Kippur. Guess at the shock that everybody had over there. Hugs, crying. For 1 hour, everyone in that shul was crying in the middle of Yom Kippur. For sure, everybody that day made repentance. What's the chance that Maurice Shechter will go to Israel, sit on Yom Kippur, eating a sandwich, rebelling against God, he's angry against God. The Jew, the religious Jew, walk in the street, he sees him sitting on a bench out of nowhere. He's begging him to come in and he agrees. Just imagine if he would not agree. This is what the Torah says, Yesh Adam koneh olamo berega echad. Sometimes a Jew can turn his life to a positive in one moment. One decision. Everything turns around. I want to wish each one of you that watch this movie that right now, not tomorrow, this moment, after you finish watching this movie, you're going to accept some things to going to change your life. Not to stay the same way, because after a day or two, nobody will remember what he just heard. Right now, it's influential. It made some impact on you. Take advantage on a moment, because tomorrow it won't be the same. Once you accept to change, to go to learn more Torah, to make some adjustments, slowly but surely, like they said, your life will never be the same. And the most important thing is getting the ticket that God promised us, the nation of Israel, for life of eternity. Thank you very much for listening, and good night.